Creating lip sync animation in Adobe Animate CC is a lot easier than it used to be in previous versions of the program. The basic premise for creating a lip sync character animation is first, you need to have a character that has multiple lip sync positions. In order to find out what the lip sync positions are, make sure to check out your animation resources online, Google Images, etc. The keyword search term is lip sync positions animation. Now, the more lip sync positions you have, and those means the actual mouth movements you have, the more realistic and smoother your lip sync will be, but the more complicated it is to create. So whether you're creating a stick figure with 5 mouth positions or a fully illustrated dragon from Illustrator that has 15 mouth positions, it's up to you. In this particular example, we tried to stay middle of the road. It does have 14 lip positions. 2 of them are different smiles for sometimes when she's not talking. And we didn't do things that some people do, like create different expressions and eyebrow movement and hand gestures to go with the lip sync animation to make it a lot more natural. Our character, the only thing that's going to move on her is the mouth. Not very natural, but it makes it a little bit easier for us to learn with. So whether you create your character in Illustrator or you create it in Animate CC is totally up to you. Try something really easy first and then move on to more complicated characters. So if you want to know how to create your Illustrator character with the mouth positions, or at least how to organize it, make sure to watch the setup character for lip sync animation video on my YouTube channel. So let's go ahead and import that particular character to our stage and set her up for lip sync animation. So we'll go ahead and do import to stage, and we're going to choose that Illustrator file of the character. And in the Illustrator file, each of the mouth positions has its own named layer, which is really important. And then the girl's body is on one layer on its own. We need to put these in animate layers and click import. Now what this is going to do is it's going to import all of the different mouth positions to their own layer that's named, and the girl on her own layer at the very bottom. With them all selected, I'll go ahead and make her a little bit bigger so we can see her, and then we are good to go. Now what we need to do is lock the girl so that she's not a part of our graphic symbol of the mouth positions, and then move all of these different mouth positions into a graphic symbol so we can lip sync with it. So we'll click the very last keyframe, hold Shift and click the very first keyframe to highlight all of the different mouth positions, and then we're going to right click and choose Cut Frames. Now we need to go to Insert, New Symbol, create a graphic symbol, GFC Mouth, and then click OK. Now with that created, you'll see we're in the GFC Mouth here. We're going to right click on this first frame of the blank layer 1 and do Paste Frames. This will paste all of those graphics into the graphic symbol in order with their names, and that's really important. With them all still selected, we'll move it over so that they align their top left corner with this point. Okay, now by the way, if you can't see the graphics, you might need to Control minus or Control plus to zoom in, zoom out. It's important that all the mouth positions be on their own layer. Make sure they're named and make sure they are stacked kind of with their center points aligned, so to speak. So before we actually start messing with this graphic symbol, I'm going to go back out to scene 1 and set up the rest of my document. So we'll fit this in window, and as you can see, her mouth is gone. So we'll highlight all of these layers and delete them so we just have the girl layer. Go into the library panel and drag the GFC mouth. Oops, we're going to need to create a new layer. And drag the mouth and put it where we think it's going to be positioned on her face. That looks pretty good, so we'll give this a name called Mouth. And then the next thing we need to do is we need to actually add the audio. So let's go ahead and go to File, Import to the library, and we're going to add our audio. So mine is called Welcome Animate Edit MP3. And it's just me saying, welcome to Adobe Animate CC, and I think I say something else. So there's my MP3 file. So I'll go ahead and create a new audio layer. And then on the very first keyframe, go to the Properties panel and choose that Welcome Animate Edit MP3. So this shows the start of that wave, but since we only have one frame in our timeline, we can't really see all of it. So I'm going to make these normal size, and I'll highlight frame 100 and hit F5, and this extends the length of the animation to the 100th frame. But as you can see that my wave file is still going strong. So I'll do like 190 and hit F5, and it looks like it's still going. So it ends about frame 191, maybe 190. So I'm just going to highlight back. I still want this little buffer room where there's no talking. So I'll go ahead and right click remove frame and make sure that they all end on the very same frame. So that's the basic setup for this particular audio animation or this lip sync. Now, as I scrubbed it back, you can hear a little bit of jarble. Now, if you can't hear that on yours, it might be because your particular wave file is set to event. That's okay, because event is the proper one we want to use because it'll create very clear, smooth quality audio when we test the lip sync. But unfortunately, when we set it to event, we can't hear it when we scrub the timeline. So for purposes of creating the lip sync, we actually need it to be on stream. So don't forget though, at the very end, when you're done with your lip sync animation, change the audio back to event so that you don't get the low quality sound that we get from the stream. All right, so now with that set in stream, we can listen.
Welcome to Animate CC.
Okay, so it says welcome to Animate CC. So we need to actually create our lip sync graphic symbol. We need to edit a little bit more so that we can create this lip sync. So going inside of this graphic symbol, what we need to do with this is we need to organize it so each mouth position is on a new frame. So I'll go ahead and choose large. It's easier for me to see that way. And I want the smile teeth mouth position to be on frame 1. And I want the smile line to be on frame 2, frame 3, frame 4. So I'm just clicking once and then clicking and dragging. And I'm moving them in chronological order so they sort of have this cascade. You could have went backwards and had AEI all on frame 1 and then went down this way in a stair-step pattern. It's up to you. But it's just important that none of them are on the same frame. Otherwise, they're going to look like double mouth positions on one frame. So here we have frame 1, frame 2, frame 3, frame 4, frame 5, etc. So that's what we needed. Now, when the frame picker shows it to us, it's going to show it to us by name of frame number. And so it'll say this is frame 1, frame 2, frame 3. But if you don't know what each of these positions represents, like what phonetic sound it represents, this is going to be hard for you. So what you're going to need to do is you're going to need to add a frame label onto each of these particular keyframes. So this keyframe is for the smile teeth. So in Properties panel, I'll choose the name of smile teeth. And then I'm going to do that for every successive one of these keyframes. So this is the smile line. And then we have the TH. So this is the particular mouth movement she will have when the phonetic sound of TH is happening. So anytime she says that or the first mouth movement we're going to see is this TH mouth movement. So you can do all of these on your own, and I have it done in a different document. But the last thing we need to do is create a new layer. And I'm going to call this skin. And the reason why is because when we frame pick this particular first frame or this smile teeth, it's white and the back of it will be white too, so we won't be able to see the teeth. So I'm going to go ahead and just put a garish colored backing onto her mouth. She kind of looks like she has a beard, a blue beard for right now, and I'll lock that down, and that allows me to see all of those different mouth movements very easily. And you're going to just have to trust me on that because I know you can't see it right now, but you'll see it in just a second. This, when you're done with your lip sync, just come in here and either turn its visibility off or delete that layer. So let's go into this particular project that I have already done. And as you can see, if we make this bigger, each one of these mouth positions has a different frame label on it. And that's going to make a difference because now what we need to do back in our main timeline is actually start doing the lip sync. So go to the window menu and choose something called Frame Picker. And I'm going to drop this over on the left side of my screen so it's easy to see. So as you can see, that little background allows me to see the teeth on a white background. So that's very helpful. All right. So with the frame labels, it says not just frame 2, but frame 2 is smile line, frame 4 is CH, J, or SH. So what we're going to do is over here, right now, the graphic symbol that's on her face is showing, it might for you be showing a loop. And you can tell it's a loop because when you start to scrub it, she'll move her mouth even though we don't have any talking happening right here. So this is why we choose graphic symbol instead of movie clip, is because graphic symbol allows us to control whether or not it loops or it plays once or it plays a single frame. So we're going to have it play single frame, and each new keyframe represents a single frame. So right now she's not talking, so I want her to have just a pleasant smile. So when I click on this particular keyframe, I'm going to choose frame 2 to have a smile line. If you want to have her smiling, big teeth full of smile at the very beginning, you can. If you randomly want her to go from big toothy smile to, let's say on frame 14, we want her to go to the single line smile, you can absolutely do that. Every time you choose a new one though, you can see that this frame picker adds a keyframe, which is really helpful. So as you can see, we're starting to get some kind of jump or wave right here, and that means this is when I start talking. Now, the thing with this is you're gonna have to think about lightning and thunder every time you do lip sync animation. We see lightning first, and then we hear thunder second. So same thing here is we're gonna see things first and then hear them second. So if you start hearing the word, we need to see it like the frame before it. So as we scrub through here, you might be able to hear it, but we're gonna start saying welcome. It's gonna be welcome to Animate CC. So let's hear this. So I start saying welcome here. So if this is really where I hear the W, then I should actually have the W keyframe right here because I'm going to see it before I hear it. And I want them to look like they actually happen simultaneously. So I'll go ahead and find the W. So we're looking all through here and I can never remember. There we go. Frame 7 for me is W. So there's welcome. So there's the L. So I probably have an E in here, and it's just a regular E, not a long E like C or 3. So it's welcome. So we'll put frame 14 and see how it created a keyframe. There's the L, so we're going to look for the L sound. So you might need to sound this out with your own mouth movements and think about how your mouth is moving and try a little guesswork there if it doesn't make sense to you for some of these different words that are going pretty fast. So there's there's that k of come. So we'll go ahead and find the C. Where would that be? There we go. And then the O. And then this is the M. So we need to find the closed lip sound. There's the t of 2. So go ahead and find the T. And sometimes you can't see, but if you hover over that frame label, will show you. So t, and then this is a long O. So we'll put 2 and let it hold for a second. There's the animate. There's the A, so we're going to do the animate, and so on and so forth. So I'm not going to do this whole thing with you. You can create your own character, use a little stick figure, and I'll put the Welcome to Animate CC MP3 that I'm using here in the video description below. So go ahead and try this out. But as I come in here, I'll show you one that's kind of partially done.
Welcome to Animate CC. In this tutorial video, you'll learn how to create lip sync animation.
Okay, so watch again.
Welcome to Animate CC. In this tutorial video, you'll learn how to create lip sync animation.
Okay, so that's all there is to creating lip sync animation. It's a little bit time intensive for your characters, but it is well worth it because what character doesn't actually have the ability to talk? So it's just a matter of creating a graphic for the mouth positions and then adding audio to your timeline, lengthening all the frames so that we have the mouth and the audio last the same amount of time, and then setting up that graphic symbol to have both keyframes in chronological order, frame labels, and then making sure that we use the frame picker to coordinate with the phonetic sounds of the audio that we hear.